Welcome to your Poplar Harker NCFE Level 2 Certificate in Principles of Business Administration, Session 1 of 4, Principles of Providing Administrative Services. My name's Phil Church and I shall be your narrator and guide for this session. This NCFE Level 2 online certificate in Principles of Business Administration is brought to you by Poplar Harker and Solucious Equinox Training Solutions for online learning. A warm welcome to Solucious Equinox Limited and your online training session today. We sincerely hope that the sessions we have planned for you meets your individual needs and expectations. Our training courses are designed to be thought-provoking and engaging, and we encourage you to partake in the online discussion sessions in order for you to absorb as much of the learning as possible. Our trainers are highly qualified and experienced in their respective fields of expertise, so please feel free to ask questions. Each of our trainers brings a wealth of knowledge from their previous backgrounds, and they are happy to chat with you at the conclusion of your training session today. As I said, my name is Phil Church and I worked in the public sector for 15 years as a police officer with the British Transport Police in various operational and specialist roles. I have a Chartered Managers Institute Level 5 Leadership and Management Diploma, and I'm also a Chartered Manager, as well as being a co-director of Solucious Equinox Limited. I'm currently a Vice Chair and Safeguarding Lead on a governing body of an Essex primary academy. And I hold several teaching and assessing qualifications, and I have a degree in policing through Canterbury Christchurch University. I also deliver levy apprenticeships in leadership and management, and safeguarding to the third and private sectors, and safeguarding and specialist training to police forces. My colleague Jason Hunt was previously a police officer for 22 years with West Midlands Police and Nottinghamshire Police, City of London Police, Royal Cayman Islands Police, Essex Police and British Transport Police. He has worked in various operational and specialist roles. He also has a Chartered Managers Institute Level 5 Leadership and Management Diploma and is also a Chartered Manager, as well as being co-director of Solucious Equinox Limited. Jason holds teaching and assessing qualifications, and he also has a degree in policing through Canterbury Christchurch University. He also delivers levy apprenticeships and safeguarding to the third and private sectors, and safeguarding and specialist training to police forces. The units being covered today are Principles of Providing Administrative Services. So what does your learning journey look like? Well, today is session 1 of 4, and we'll be covering Principles of Providing Administrative Services, and immediately after this there'll be an online teaching support session through GoToMeeting. Once that's completed, you will have session 2 of 4, and that will be covering Principles of Business Document Production and Information Management, Understand communication in a business environment, and that will be also followed by an online teaching support session. Session 3 of 4 is Understanding Employer Organisations, Understand how to develop working relationships with colleagues, and online teaching support session immediately following. There will be additional tutor support sessions if you request it. Once these 3 sessions are completed, it should give you enough to complete your online assessment 1. Session 4 will contain Understand how to store, retrieve and archive information, Principles of Customer Service, and also will have an online teaching support. You will then complete an online assessment for number 2. You'll have full tutor support throughout the program, and once these assessments have been successfully marked and passed, you will then receive your qualification. Completing your assignments, it's important to understand the action verbs in the assignment questions. The action verbs define. You must give the precise meaning of a word. Describe. In order to describe something, you must give a detailed account of it. Explain. You need to ensure that your answer is clear, revealing relevant facts. And identify, point out and explain. Your answer should establish who or what something is. Don't just give us a list. Write your items down and then tell us about them. We will tutor you throughout the program and help you to complete the 2 assignments. Once you've submitted your assignments online, they will be assessed. All your completed assignments will then be submitted for internal and external quality assurance. And once this process is complete, you will be awarded your qualification. So, we offer a remote assistance service, and we can be contacted at learners@solutionsequinox.com. But this is important. Your email subjects must be marked with NCFE Business Admin. That way it will save your email being lost in amongst a sea of others. There's also 2 telephone numbers there that you can contact myself or Jason for any further support should you need it. So in this section, we're going to look at understand the organisation and administration of meetings. And to do that, we will describe the features of different types of meetings, outline the different ways of providing administrative support for meetings, explain the steps involved in organising meetings. The typical features of different types of meetings may include customer sales meetings, where meeting with customers, build strong relationships, presenting your pitch for your sale for a new client or for a new product. They're held at clients' offices, company offices. They could be held off-site or even online using systems such as Zoom or GoToMeeting or Microsoft Teams. Director, trustee and shareholder meetings, where you discuss organisation's progress, address general issues, and look at finances, strategy and objectives of the business. Then you have project meetings, which start and end at the same time as the project, include people from different departments. They're held regularly, and they're usually held on site so all those working on the project can easily attend. Then there are formal meetings, where they have an agenda and someone takes the minutes, which are used to assign actions for those present within the room. Training and skill building meetings, where you keep staff skills up to date. They focus on one skill area. They're held in-house, externally, on-site or off-site. They can be intensive, formal courses, one-off sessions or even toolbox sessions. There's creative meetings which work on a brief used to come up with lots of ideas, and team meetings which can include people from all levels, can be held regularly or as needed, can cover any topic. Leaders can update staff and staff can update leaders. Then there are video conference meetings. They can be used to bring together national or international employees or customers, and they use a variety of software and equipment that most people already have. Webcam, internet, laptop, PC, tablet, and they can be used to share resources and content, so you can actually display Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel on the screen so everybody can see, and documents can be sent via those systems such as Microsoft Teams. Then you have appraisal meetings, usually one-on-one, held on site, held annually or as needed. Some companies do quarterly or half-annually appraisals. They're used to review performance, review the objectives and targets, and to set new objectives and targets, to discuss personal issues. And appraisal meeting targets should be in line with company objectives or team objectives. and supplier meetings, discussing performance and rates, and discussing new contracts, for example, bank managers or accountants. Your assignment question is asking you, for question 1A, describe the features of different types of meetings. So to recap, meetings can include customer sales meetings, where you meet with customers, you present your pitch, and held at the client's offices. Project meetings that start and end at the same time as the project and include people from different departments, held regularly. Training and skill building meetings that keep staff skills up to date, can be intensive, formal courses, one-off sessions, toolbox sessions. Creative meetings where people work on a brief, used to come up with lots of ideas. Team meetings can include people from all levels, can be held regularly or as needed. Can include any topic, leaders can update staff and staff can update leaders. Formal meetings where they have an agenda and someone takes the minutes. Video conferencing, bringing people together from national and international employees or customers. Appraisal meetings that are usually one-on-one, held on site annually or as needed to target objectives, review the targets, objectives and set new targets and objectives and discuss any personal issues. Supplier meetings where you discuss performance rates, discuss new contracts, or director, trustee and shareholder meetings where discussion of organisation's progress, addressing general issues and looking at finances, strategy and objectives. Different ways in which to provide administrative support for meetings. Manage a budget for venues and for refreshments. To book a venue, make sure you send out invitations. Always ask for special access or dietary requirements. Create an agenda and distribute this to your attendees. Create an attendance list and, if necessary, name badges if people don't know each other. Ensure security passes and parking have been arranged. Send out directions to the venue. Book catering if necessary. Ensure there are sufficient tables and chairs. Ensure that there is sufficient stationery. Arrange for calls to be rerouted or send out emails, such as out-of-office replies. Have someone take minutes to record any formal decisions being made or actions that are being required of those within the room. And ensure any technical equipment is available, projectors, cables and so forth, and ensure that it works and that your equipment is compatible with it. The assignment question is asking you for question 1B to outline the different ways of providing administrative support for meetings. So just to recap again, manage the budget for venue and refreshments, book the venue, provide directions, book catering, make sure technical equipment is working and is compatible, ensure there are enough tables and chairs, ensure attendees have security and car passes if necessary, make sure there are copies of the minutes from the last meeting, have an agenda, arrange for calls to be rerouted or sent to voicemail and out-of-office replies are switched on. And if necessary, make arrangements for a photocopier to be available during the meeting in case any additional copies need to be made at the last minute. There are lots more that were just discussed on the previous slide for you to be able to outline the different ways of providing administrative support for meetings. Different steps involved in organising meetings. Reserve or book a room. Check that the location is actually big enough and has all the equipment required. I've been to quite a few meetings in the past where the room has been tiny and some people have had to stand or even stand in the doorway, which doesn't look good for a prospective customer or your employees. Invite people to the meeting. Send out attendance instructions. People like to know where they are going and what time they are due to arrive and what time it's likely to finish. Arrange parking or arrange for transport. Arrange for refreshments. Check to see if any attendees have special access requirements and set up the required assistance. Create attendance lists and corresponding name badges. Write an agenda and arrange for resources that will be needed. Your assignment question is asking you for question 1C to explain the steps involved in organising meetings. So, to recap, reserve or book the room, check the location is big enough and has all the necessary equipment. Invite people to the meeting, send out directions, arrange parking and transport, arrange refreshments, check if any attendees have any additional access requirements. If so, set up any necessary assistance. Create an attendance list for names badge. Create an agenda and arrange any resources that will be needed. In this section, we will look at understand the organisation of travel and accommodation. And to do this, we will describe the features of different types of business travel and accommodation. Explain the purpose of confirming instructions and requirements for business travel and accommodation. And explain the purpose of keeping records of business travel and accommodation. When arranging business travel and accommodation, there are a number of features you may need to consider. Rail travel. Now, rail travel is convenient and it's potentially cheaper than flying. Sometimes it's cheaper than driving. You may have to book in advance in order to ensure you can actually obtain these discounts. The trains tend to have Wi-Fi, enabling out-of-office work. However, trains can be delayed or even cancelled. Road travel. For company cars, company pays the fuel and insurance costs. With personal car use, the expenses are claimed back by the employee. If it's a hire car that is used, they are paid using company credit cards. Or for bus, it's useful for a large number of people attending a meeting. You may want to hire a coach in some instances. However, it is time consuming using it as a travel method, and it's affected by traffic conditions. Air travel is good for national and international travel. If it's booked in advance, it can be cost effective, and if you're flying, say, from London to Scotland, in some cases can actually be cheaper than rail travel and certainly quicker than road travel. But it can be time consuming with the time connections and getting to the airports, and it can be expensive. And as with the likes of the coronavirus, it's susceptible to be closed. Flights can be cancelled, and you might end up having to have your meetings online through GoTo or Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Sea travel can be fast, can be cost effective, and you're able to travel with a vehicle or as a foot passenger, but it's affected by poor weather conditions. And again, you have the ability to be able to carry out your work whilst on board the ferry or on board the catamaran. Hotel accommodation. Businesses can get a discount if they make regular bookings. Some have different ranges from 1 to 5 star. You may utilise a bed and breakfast. Some have Wi-Fi supplied, but they can be expensive if you are staying there for long amounts of time. Bed and breakfast accommodation is usually cheaper than hotels, and it's designed and used for short stays. Many have Wi-Fi these days, and parking may be free of charge, and in some cases you do get discounts for group bookings. Service departments require monthly commitments. There's no need there to book hotels. reduced costs if travel arrangements are changed, and fully furnished and cleaned regularly. And a good example of a service department would be something like Airbnb. Your assignment question is asking you for question 2 to describe the features of different types of business travel and accommodation. So, we discussed rail, which can be convenient, can be cheaper than flying and sometimes driving. Trains may have Wi-Fi on board to maximise time out of the office, but they can be delayed or cancelled. Road, use of company cars where the company pays for the fuel and insurance. Personal, where they claim back the petrol expenses. Hire cars, businesses for use for buses with large groups travelling, but the disadvantages, they're time consuming and affected by traffic conditions. Air travel is good for national and international travel, can be cheap if you book it in advance, but its disadvantages, it can be time consuming with the airport connections or travelling to the airport, and it can be expensive. Where sea travel can be fast and cost effective, you can travel with or without a car, but it can be affected by the weather. The different types of hotels, businesses can get discounts if they make regular bookings. Lots of choice ranging from 1 star to 5 star. Prices also range. Some supply Wi-Fi and parking for free. Bed and breakfasts are usually cheaper than hotels. Discounts may be offered for groups and used for short stay. And don't forget service departments that eliminate the need to book for hotels or B&B, reduce costs if travel changes to have to be made, they're fully furnished and they're cleaned regularly. It is important to confirm instructions and requirements for business travel and accommodation. This ensures staff get to meetings and events on time. It reduces money lost on missed bookings. Errors found early can be corrected, and therefore misunderstandings are avoided. It reduces the chances of plans failing. Strong businesses relationships are developed with transport and accommodation suppliers, so you end up using the same people regularly, which ensures you may get discounts. And the most important thing is that everyone knows what is expected of them. Your assignment question is asking you for question 3 to explain the purpose of confirming instructions and requirements for business travel and accommodation. So it's important that staff get to meetings and events on time, reduces money lost on missed bookings, errors are found early with enough time to make changes, misunderstandings are avoided, the chances of the plans failing are reduced, strong business relationships are developed with a transport or accommodation supplier, and everybody knows what is expected of them. And further reading can be found on pages 14 to 15 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. 3 main reasons for keeping records of business travel and accommodation. For the person travelling. The person travelling knows the timetable. They know the deadlines, travel times, check-in and check-out times. They know where to go. They know what airport terminal or train station they need to go to. They have all the contact details in one place. For example, airlines, hotels, drivers or taxi firms. And if they're going to be late or even early, they can call ahead. The line manager knows where the employee is, and they can contact them to ask questions if necessary. They can let people know when the employee will be back. And for revenue and customs, for the finance department, they can review the costs. They can make any direct payments for travel and accommodation. They can prepare the business's accounts. And they can claim the right tax relief. And they can prepare the figures for Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs for employees. Question 4 is asking you to explain the purpose of keeping records of business travel and accommodation. So the person travelling knows the timetable, deadlines, travel times, know where to go. They have all the contact details in one place and can call ahead if they're going to be early or late. The line manager knows where the employee is. They can contact them to ask questions, and they can let people know when the employee will be back. The finance department can review the costs. They can make direct payments for travel and accommodation, can prepare the business's accounts, claim the right tax relief, and can prepare figures for HMRC for the employees. In this section, we're going to look at understand how to manage diary systems. And to do that, we will describe the features of hard copy and electronic diary systems. Explain the purpose of using diary systems to plan and coordinate activities and resources. And describe the types of information needed to manage a diary system. And explain the importance of obtaining correct information when making diary entries. Well, what are the main features of a hard copy and an electronic diary system? Well, for electronic, it's accessible to the whole organisation with permission. You share a particular diary to an employee or to a team. Staff can have different diaries for different responsibilities. Diaries can be linked to email accounts, so they will get notifications of when an invite has been sent or when they are due to be attending a meeting. And reminders can be set up. Resources can be linked to meetings, for example, meeting rooms, projectors, catering and car parking. And staff can book an appointment with a colleague without having to disturb them, because they can see at a glance what their diary looks like without actually having to ask them. For manual diaries, they're usually kept in an accessible location. You can record visitors and record room bookings. It's open to lots of different people, and it's usually managed by an administrator or office manager. Question 5 is asking you to describe the features of hard and electronic diary systems. So to recap, electronic is accessible to the whole organisation with permission. Staff can have different diaries for different responsibilities. Reminders can be linked up. Resources can be linked to meetings. Staff can book an appointment with a colleague without disturbing them. Manual diaries, usually kept in an accessible location. Recording visitors or room bookings. It's open to lots of different people, and it's usually managed by an administrator or an office manager. And further reading can be found on pages 17 to 18 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. The purpose of using diary systems to plan and coordinate activities and resources. By using the purpose of a diary, you can check the availability of an invitee. You can check room availability. You can check resource availability. The types of information you may need to manage the diary systems. Who will be in charge of the meeting? The date of the event or meeting. The location of the meeting or the event. The time of the meeting or event. The duration of the planned meeting. Information on agreed time, such as leave. Attendees' names and email addresses. Question 6 is asking you to explain the purpose of using diary systems to plan and coordinate activities and resources. And question 7 is asking you to describe the types of information needed to manage a diary system. So, for question 6, diaries can be used to choose a day, location for an event, checking an invitee availability, checking room availability, checking resource availability. For question 7, you can find out who is in charge of the meeting, the date and time of the meeting or event, the location and duration of the meeting or event, any agreed time off, attendees' names and email addresses. The importance of ensuring correct information is obtained when making diary entries. Ensure that rooms are booked for the correct date, time and location. Attendees know where to go. Attendees are able to update their own calendar systems. Resources which are needed are sent to the correct location. Equipment can be checked at the venue. Reduce costs of changing, cancelling bookings. Question 8 is asking you to explain the importance of obtaining correct information when making diary entries. So just to recap, rooms are booked for the correct date, time and location. Attendees know where to go. Attendees can update their own calendars. Resources are sent to the correct location. Equipment can be checked at the venue, room, and reduces costs of changing and cancelling bookings. And further reading can be found on pages 20 to 21 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we're going to look at understand how to use office equipment. To do that, we will describe different types of office equipment, explain the different types of office equipment and their uses, describe factors to be considered when selecting office equipment to complete tasks, and finally describe how to keep waste to a minimum when using office equipment. The different types of office equipment and their descriptions. Desktop computers are static in offices and tend to be used by one user unless your hot desking is in force. These machines tend to be more powerful than mobile devices, but are also less portable and take up room on an office furniture. Laptop computers, by contrast, tend to be issued to staff on a personal basis, and these are portable machines which enable the user to work agile away from an office environment. Tablet computers are very mobile due to their portability. The screen size can limit the type of work that can be done on these machines, and they are not always compatible with standalone computers. These machines are also easy to drop or lose. Mobile telephones tend to be mini computers that are ideal for doing tasks that are simple in nature due to the limitations of the screen size. Emails and other apps are ideal and can be customized to the requirements of the organization. Desktop telephones tend to be static on a desk and rely on staff sitting around them to answer calls. They can be configured to enable speed dialing to different departments within a building and are relatively low cost to operate in comparison to mobile telephones. Office printers tend to have user access limited by way of a PIN code or swipe card to ensure unauthorized users do not use the device. Coloured printing can be expensive, and this function may have further limits placed on it by the company. Photocopiers tend to be leased by the organisation and has limitations on its use. Access by staff may be based on a system of PIN numbers or swipe cards. Coloured printing may be further limited due to the additional cost of purchasing the inks. Modern printers tend to have scanners integrated into them, enabling paper documents to be scanned onto linked computers. Laminators have many uses, and these range from laminating important documents to making signs or name tags for delegates attending meetings. These machines should be used with caution as they get very hot and could be a fire risk if left unattended. Shredders. Shredders are used to shred documents, and some models can also shred CDs. Highly confidential documents tend to get shredded by specialist companies who attend locations in special vehicles to shred material. Disposing of documents is a key requirement under GDPR. Your assignment question for question 9A is asking you to describe different types of office equipment. So to recap, desktop computer, laptop, tablet, mobile phone, desk phone, printer, photocopier, scanner, laminator, shredder are just some of the equipment that you could list and describe. And further reading can be found on pages 22 to 23 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. So the different types of office equipment and their uses. Well, desktop PCs are used for creating documents and sending and receiving emails, creating PowerPoints and creating and updating websites and or media presence. Laptops are used by remote workers or staff who need to travel and can be used at docking stations in offices instead of standalone desktop computers. Tablets are used for meetings, on the road, in restaurants, shops or by IT workers. These machines are also increasingly used by police officers and ambulance staff. Mobile phones are used for making and receiving calls, checking emails and using inbuilt applications. And desktop phones are used for making and receiving calls and for the replaying of messages that are used on the voicemail system. Printers used for printing computer-based documents in black and white or colour. You have laserjet, inkjet printers. Photocopiers used for printing documents in black and white or colour. Again, you also have scanners on them these days, and many of these machines can also double up as a computer printer. Laminators used for laminating paper documents, which protects them. And shredders are used for disposing of confidential documents. And your assignment question for 9B is asking you to explain the uses of different types of office equipment, and further reading can be found on pages 22 to 23 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. But just to recap, a desktop computer can create documents, send and receive emails, PowerPoints, creating and updating websites. Laptops can be used by remote workers on staff who need to travel, can be used at workstations. Tablets can be used in meetings or used on the road. Restaurants used in shops, used by IT workers. Mobile phones for making and receiving calls, receiving voicemails, use of emails and applications. Desk phones for making and receiving calls and checking voicemails. Printers for printing copies of emails, documents, presentations. Prints in black and white or colour. And a photocopier can make copies black and white or even colour. They can staple documents, they can even hole punch. They can collate documents. And scanners send images of documents or important information. Laminator protects the documents and can create posters. And shredders keep confidential documents safe by chopping them or slicing them up. What to consider when selecting office equipment to complete tasks. Depending on the task, is the equipment appropriate for the task? What is the purchase and running costs of the equipment? Is the project a one-off? What will it be used for and by whom? How big is the job? Who is the job for? Would renting the equipment be cheaper than purchasing it? Would the equipment be used elsewhere after a project, thus justifying the investment? And if the equipment is rented, what are the contractual clauses? Question 10 is asking you to describe factors to be considered when selecting office equipment. Is it appropriate to the task? What is the cost? Who will it be used for? Is the project a one-off or a repeat? How big is the job? Who is the job for? And further reading can be found on page 24 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. How to keep waste to a minimum when using office equipment. Recycling. Recycle toner cartridges, paper, cardboard and plastics. Conserving materials. No unnecessary printing. Turning computers, lights off at the end of the day. Maintaining machinery will help you save costs and will also keep your materials and machines running longer. How would you go about recycling to keep waste to a minimum in your office environment? How would you go about conserving materials to keep waste to a minimum in your office environment? Your assignment question is asking you for question 11 to describe how to keep waste to a minimum when using office equipment. So think about things like recycling toner cartridges, paper, cardboard and plastic, conserving materials, no unnecessary printing, by turning computers and lights off at the end of the day, and maintaining machinery. And further reading can be found on pages 24 to 25 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we will understand how to use mail services in a business context. And to do that, we will describe the types of mail services used in businesses and explain the need for different types of mail services. Describe factors to be considered when selecting mail services. Explain the factors to be taken into account when choosing postage methods. The different types of mail services used in businesses. There is email. Email can be internal. For external use, it is fast. It is efficient. You can also have read notifications so you know when your recipient has read your email. You can attach files and other resources. Internal mail can be delivered to staff from the organisation's postroom. Postal service can be picked up and dropped off at the same time each day. Can take letters and parcels. And franking machines, weighing items and generate labels. And scales and prepaid labels will allow you to have an efficient method of sending documents or parcels, costing you exactly what is required. Special delivery. It's trackable. It's fast. It's more expensive than a postal service. And you also have registered and recorded delivery. You're giving a tracking number and you can log in online or ring and find out exactly where your parcel is and when it was delivered. If it hasn't been delivered, you're also entitled to compensation. There are couriers that are fast and again trackable. It's ideal for delivery and collection of large, bulky items. but it can be expensive. You can download printable labels and attach them to the parcels in order to be collected or sent. And there are opportunities for business accounts. Which of these would you use in your organisation and why? Because your question 12A is asking you to describe the types of mail services used in business organisations. So don't forget email, which is internal, external, it's fast, efficient, has read notifications. You can attach files and resources. There's internal mail, which is delivered from the staff's organisation's post room. Postal service, picked up, dropped off at the same day each time. Can take letters and parcels. You can have franking machines in your establishment which weigh the item and gives you the correct postage for it and the cost. Special delivery, which is trackable, fast, recorded and registered deliveries. And couriers, which are fast and trackable, can pick up bulky items but can be expensive. Well, why do organisations need different types of mail services? Well, information or data may need to be shared with staff inside an organisation or with external stakeholders such as customers or suppliers. Resources may need to be sent out for trade shows or conferences. Products may be sent out to customers by mail, such as shops. Goods, items may be sent into your organisation from outside. Which factors should you consider when selecting a mail service? Well, the cost. Some forms of delivery are more expensive than others, and certainly the location of the recipient, if you're sending items abroad, can result in very expensive sending costs. Reliability. Can the service guarantee pickup and delivery at specific times? The postal service, useful for everyday deliveries of letters and small parcels, items can be sent a first or second class. Special delivery and courier are useful for large national and international and are time sensitive and confidential deliveries. Email are useful to reach a lot of people in one go. You can also send attachments, which cuts down on printing, paper and postage costs. Internal mail cuts down delivery time and ensures items are delivered to the correct person. Your assignment question is asking you for question 12B to explain the need for different types of mail services. And question 12C is asking you to explain the factors to be considered when selecting mail services. So to recap for question 12B, to send information to and communicate with internal and external customers, to send resources to trade shows, for example, to send products to clients such as shops, to receive items from outside the company. And for question 12C, cost is a factor to be considered when selecting mail services. Some of the forms of delivery are more expensive than others, such as the location of the recipient. How reliable are they? The postal service is useful for everyday deliveries of letters and small parcels, and they can be sent first or second class. The consideration of special delivery and courier services, which is useful for large national and international and time-sensitive or confidential deliveries. Or email, which is useful to reach a lot of people in one go and can also send attachments, which cuts down on printing, paper and postage costs. Internal mail cuts down on delivery time and ensures the items are delivered to the correct person. Factors you should take into account when choosing a postage method How big is the item? How much does it weigh? And postage is determined by weight and size. When has it got to be delivered? Couriers and special delivery can get items to the recipient within 24 hours. Can it be sent electronically via an attachment? This would save on stationery and postage costs. Your assignment question is asking you for question 13 to explain the factors to be taken into account when choosing postage methods. How big is the item? How much does it weigh? Because the postage is determined by weight and size. When does it have to be delivered? Because couriers and special delivery can get items to the recipient within 24 hours. Can it be sent electronically via an attachment, as this would save on stationery and postage costs? And further reading can be found on pages 26 to 29 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we will look at understand customer service in a business environment. And to do that, we will describe different types of customers. Describe the impact of their own behaviour on a customer. Explain the impact of poor customer service. What are the different types of customer? Customers are internal and external. Your internal customers are the staff members who come to your department for services. Your external customers may be suppliers to your department or actual customers. And did you know that some large companies put their internal service requirements out to tender, and that internal company departments compete with external ones? And Land Rover use DHL to provide their component parts within their factory in time delivery to build their vehicles. And they're also known as stakeholders. And DLR, they were contracted by Jaguar Land Rover to deliver the parts to the factory. They also operate the internal logistics system. DHL ensure that car parts are brought to the individual factory workers building the cars inside the factory. And your assignment question is asking you to describe different types of customers. So don't forget, you have external and internal. They're also known as stakeholders. What impact does your behaviour have on customers? For a positive impact, it's important to be friendly, approachable, helpful, empathetic, efficient. By exhibiting these, it leads to repeat custom, creates positive feedback, and because people will talk to others, you will have future new customers because people enjoy the experience and recommend you to other people. Negative behaviours such as unhelpfulness, being uninterested in the customer's needs and requirements, rude, slow to offer help and complete tasks, leads to complaints, losing customers and fewer new customers because people will tell others about the poor experience that they had. They will tell them to avoid you. Therefore, you will lose your custom. Successful companies trade on their reputations, and excellent customer service is the main driver. Don't forget, these days, people can use social media in an instant to either give praise or to report poor customer service. The same principle should apply to your internal customers such as other departments. Your assignment question for question 15 is asking you to describe the impact of your behaviour on a customer. So think, describe what positive behaviour is. It's friendly, approachable, helpful, empathetic, efficient, leads to repeat custom, positive feedback, future new customers. Where negative is unhelpful, uninterested in the customer's needs and requirements, rude, slow to offer help, incomplete tasks, leads to complaints, losing customers. You'll gain fewer new customers. And further reading can be found on pages 29 to 32 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. You play an integral part in both building your organisational and departmental reputation. What do you think the impact of poor customer service is? When you look at companies such as Ryanair, that was named worst brand for customer service in a Which survey, for consumerist magazines and the newspapers and social media and review specialist websites, people can, as I said earlier on, in an instant give you good praise or give you a bad reputation. And what do you think the impact of poor customer service is? It's the loss of existing customers, the loss of future customers, a loss of reputation. It takes a long time to build back up that reputation. People will remember you for the poor services that you provided. Loss of staff, whether that be from redundancies because you're having to close areas and departments and shops, maybe because you're not gaining any more customers, or staff are leaving to join companies with better reputations. They don't want to be associated with poor customer service or poor reputation. And loss of profits. Gerald Ratner said at a talk that his products were crap in 1992, and it haunted him because almost overnight he destroyed 330 shops and their business. Because why would anybody want to shop at Ratner's when even the chairman, the chief executive officer, said that their own product was crap? He destroyed the reputation of this business, a very profitable business, and a significant chance of future customers coming to their business. As a result, Ratner's collapsed, all because of one comment. Your assignment question is asking you for question 16 to explain the impact of poor customer service. So the loss of existing customers, loss of future customers, loss of reputation, the loss of staff, the loss of profits, potentially the loss of your business. Further reading can be found on pages 29 to 32 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. This concludes the first of the 4 sessions relating to your qualification. In your next presentation, we will be covering the following topics: principles of business document production and information management, understand communication in a business environment. You will have been sent by email a time, date and GoToMeeting link for you to log on for the teaching session which accompanies this presentation. To get the most from your learning journey, please ensure you log on to this online session with your trainer, and please ensure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel for Solucious Equinox to ensure that you get the latest update and alert to when your new session is online. We hope that you found that this presentation is useful, and we encourage you to use the unit handbooks which are accessible in PDF format from your e-portfolio to support your studies. If you have any questions, please either use the GoToMeeting link that we will supply for you that follows this presentation, or you can email us at our remote assistance service, where we can be contacted at learners@soluciousEquinox.com, and as stated before, please ensure your email subjects are marked NCFE Leadership. and I thank you for listening.